Welcome, fellow Gunters, to Gritty Reboot, the show where we discuss Ready Player 2.
No!
I quit.
I want to die.
Okay, no. This is Gritty Reboot, the show where we discuss TV's dark side, which, thankfully, does not include bad books that are out the week we are recording.
That's a different podcast. They've already got that covered for us.
Look, we need to bridge the gap. We need to finally become 372 pages. We've had a good run just ripping them off, but now we need to be them.
So we're going to take over on the whole Ready Player 2 thing. It's a terrible book by Ernest Cline. He basically, it's men's rights activism and gamer fantasy wrapped into a book. It sucks and it's bad. This is why we watch Wynonna Earp.
Yes, Wynonna Earp doesn't suck and is usually not bad.
And very little men's rights activism.
Very little.
And to introduce ourselves, I'm Hunter Markham, and my co-hosts are Kevin James, avid Gunter, and Sarah Donaway, who is really just diving into the works of Ernest Cline.
Oh, yeah. I'll just take anything of his I can get my hands on.
Yeah, you're a big Armada fan, right?
Oh, yeah. I for sure know what that is.
You live in a paradise where you don't. We got to see something way better because this was Wynonna Earp Season 2, Episode 3.
Gonna get you good.
Oh, thank you for saving me, Kevin. There was no way in hell I was going to recall that.
My dog just burst into the room like a police officer without a warrant.
Or like Wynonna in the opening scene of this show.
I'm trying to remember.
Oh, you forgot the cheerleading routine?
Yes, there we go. Oh my god, serious Riverdale flashbacks.
That's my first note. This is like Riverdale all over again. There is a choreographed routine where Waverly is dancing in a very skimpy cheerleading outfit.
Hunter, you just said cheerleader outfit twice. I don't understand.
But this was kind of like, I don't know, it felt a little more risque.
It was. This was not your typical high school uniform. I did definitely laugh out loud on purpose. The show has a great line where Waverly said, "I didn't know if this would be your thing." And Nicole says, "Baby, that's everybody's thing." True story.
Yes. So, yeah, Waverly's doing a private dance for Officer Nicole Hott because this is how you open an episode.
We don't actually know why she's doing the private dance. Just like, here's a dance. All right, have fun. Bye.
Right, there's some kind of reunion or homecoming day parade or something happening, both, I think. And, oh, that's what homecoming is, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay.
People come home for homecoming.
I just knew there was a dance.
Yeah, there's like a dance and a game. I didn't ever think about, it's like alumni come home and visit the school. But that's what's happening.
And 15 years after high school, we've put together what homecoming is.
Yes. What a great day.
This was a tentpole moment.
Yeah, and is Waverly going to perform at this homecoming day parade? No. Or if she does, that doesn't happen on camera. So
she just was getting nostalgic. She rifled through things, saw her cheerleading outfit, decided to put part of it on, and dance in front of her girlfriend.
And she does like a little like rocket kick towards the door, which is not where Nicole is, as Wynonna comes in. And now we canonically know Waverly does not wear underwear during cheerleader routines.
And Wynonna has canonically seen her sister's vagina. Which isn't the first time on this show because Willa also stripped naked in front of them. Wynonna must be traumatized to the nth degree at this point.
Yeah, she's like, every time I come home from work, I see one of my relatives' vaginas. It's really difficult for me.
I just want each subsequent season to get like worse and worse with this. We're like, season 7, she's like, I just saw Gus. She was just standing there waiting for me. Why?
By now, the fact that she killed her father accidentally has to be not even top 5 on lists of trauma that she's experienced related to her family. After her sister bathed her as a cult initiation ceremony in season 1.
Yeah.
It's an interesting opening scene to go from cheerleading routine sans underwear to Wynonna sees more of her family than she ever wanted to.
to ritual human sacrifice in front of a football trophy, I think? Hockey trophy?
It was hockey.
You know, I wanted to say hockey, but like, no, I'm stereotyping the Canadians. It's something else. Nope, it's hockey.
I mean, my note is, as a true Canadian, he sold his soul to a demon in order to win a hockey game.
Yes.
Yeah, some former classmate of Wynonna's is back in town for homecoming, and he goes to view the hockey trophy, and a demon comes to collect his soul because I guess a hockey team literally did make a pact with a demon in order to win a province championship.
Look, if you're not province champions of Alberta, like, what are you even doing with your life?
Yeah.
How can you even face your family after that if you lose? I mean,
like, Hunter, I don't want to like get too much into my personal life, but when I was traveling abroad in high school, I sold my soul so that I could become West Bengali cricketer champion in India. It was important. Damn it, it mattered.
You gotta do what you gotta do in order to make the Punjab Kings 11 squad or the Chennai Super Kings. Why do I know Indian Premier League cricket teams?
Oh, I assumed you were just making things up.
Oh no, these are all real.
No, I would never know. We then see one of these hockey players perform a ritual with a rabbit, and I felt like it was too much blood. Like, that just, like, seemed like I understand that rabbits, like, every living thing has a fair amount of blood, but it just felt like an enormous amount of blood from a very small rabbit.
Yeah, because I was like, did he dip the rabbit in more blood after he skinned it?
Yeah.
Was this rabbit...
How many rabbits are in here? Like, what's going on right now?
But this rabbit was just dumping blood. They also made a really unforced error in this episode when the hockey player goes to view his old hockey trophy and the demon says, "It's time to collect your soul." And the hockey player rips his own liver out, we're later told. But he rips it out of the left side of his body. Your liver is on the right side of your body.
Wow, that's embarrassing and something I definitely caught.
It's something every viewer would catch immediately, so...
Look, I never get through an episode T without consulting my Grey's Anatomy compendium.
Mm-hmm.
I only knew this from boxing, where I was like, oh yeah, you punch someone in the right side of their body to punch them in the liver. And you guys said that fighting would never come back in a good way.
Yes, that's exactly what we said about your boxing from 3 years ago.
You said you're on a dark path. This won't help you analyze film and television.
I really wonder how this went with the demon, because I feel like if you were to ask a random Canadian, like, former hockey player, like, pull out your liver, they would be like, where the fuck is that? You know what I mean? Like, is the demon, like, giving instructions step by step through mind control? Like, okay, like, no, like, go past the viscera and, like, pull aside the, like, what is happening with this?
I'm just imagining the demon with an overhead projector and transparencies and a little pointer, like, all right, I'm gonna need your liver, so you just kind of make a turn around the small intestine and pass by the kidneys.
No, that's your appendix, you fool.
I'm not your spleen, not again.
How many times do we have to go over this?
All right. New deal. You're going to come back in 4 years after you finished medical school, and then we'll try this.
Wynonna Earp loves to do some weird cold opens, and I'm actually surprised it took them until season 2 to really get into Canadian hockey culture.
I named this one of my top 3 Wynonna Earp cold opens.
Yeah. I mean, we got hockey, we got a demon who's got a burlap sack over his face and is covered in maggots, so what more could you ask for?
Cheerleading routines, intra-family nudity, like, it's got it all.
Something for everyone.
If I walked in and saw that and I was Wynonna, I would just swallow Peacemaker and do jumping jacks until it shot holes through my stomach. I feel so bad for her, but she's so unfazed after the trauma of seeing most of her family in the nude that when she's at the scene of the crime with the dead guy who pulled his own liver out, she's just casually chomping on a donut. She is ruined inside.
And then we see the guy who did the rabbit ritual. He wants to ask Wynonna out, and his name is Perry.
That's a sexy name.
And then we go from that to, like, pre-homecoming, I guess, where, like, the town is just standing around the school hallways being like, yup, that's a trophy.
They're, like, practicing for the parade. I'm not sure. This isn't familiar to me as someone who went to high school.
It's a pre-homecoming dress rehearsal?
I guess.
I don't know what it is. There's some scene in here where I was so distracted by the backing track where it was one of those things where, you know, someone makes a song that's supposed to sound like a copyrighted song, but it's just a little bit different in order to circumvent the licensing rights. And one of them was just like, is this just like the knockoff version of Pretty Fly for a White Guy by The Offspring? And why is that playing in the background here? So that was all I could focus on.
Yes, it did kind of have that feel to it, didn't it?
It was, this was strange, but we get more of our new favorite character, Wynonna's best friend, Mercedes.
Yeah, her little brother, I guess, is there taking upskirt shots of the actual high school age cheerleaders.
Fingers crossed that they actually wore underwear.
And then he also took footage of Waverly acting, you know, I guess, snake demon-y, or whatever we're calling this behavior, and full-on making out with Nicole while she is on duty. So he blackmails her with that. It's a little rough, this whole scene.
I didn't get that, because Waverly does some stuff in this episode where she has her eyes go black and she's possessed and she's stealing things and choking people out. But in this scene, her demon possession is, I'm really into PDA. I didn't get the point of that.
And then it seems like it was triggered by looking at the hockey trophy.
Yeah, it was very strange. And I just have to say, like, in terms of, like, sexually aggressive makeouts, this was a 3.
Yeah, this was, like, pretty tame. Also, I guess the thing that cracked me up was that, yeah, it's just a hockey trophy, and it kind of reminded me of Morgana from Persona 5. Sorry to get deep with this, but, like, how Morgana will see, like, anything shiny and metallic and be like, ooh, and, like, go nuts. It felt like that. I don't know if that's what they're going for or not.
Ooh, this leads me into a special surprise I have for this episode.
We're gonna just stop and start playing Persona 5?
No, but I was thinking about how we're on here talking about TV shows and really sometimes making ourselves look like fools because this isn't our expertise. We have lives outside of this.
Doesn't sound right.
I want our listeners to get to know my co-hosts and what they know outside of this realm of Wynonna Earp. For instance, Sarah is an accomplished speech-language pathologist who has been working as a speech-language pathologist for I don't know how many years. 5 years, see? But I figured, hey, let's get to know her. What should we ask her questions about? Obviously, video games, because she is the ultimate gamer. So I have short quizzes for both of you.
Oh boy, I'm ready.
Sarah, the ultimate gamer quiz, as I will be calling it, is only 3 questions. Question 1. Name this lovable Italian plumber who dresses primarily in red.
That would be Mario.
Actually, no, it's Tony Gugliani, who's my plumber. You probably wouldn't know him, but you did get that question wrong.
Fair enough.
So, off to a rocky start. Number 2, as a gamer, you know a lot about 3D art and graphics.
Sure, yeah.
You're a big Ernest Cline fan, so I'm sure you know all about video games. Could you define either anti-aliasing or subsurface scattering?
Yeah, sure. Anti-aliasing is when you have a really strong objection to Jennifer Garner.
That's so much better than the real thing, which is the pixels around the edge of an image change color slightly to match the background in order to make 3D graphics look smoother. I'm going to go with yours because...
Yeah.
All right, you're 1 for 2.
Because it sounds like a much more real thing.
Yes. I never saw the TV show Alias, but wasn't it by the same guy who did Lost?
Yeah, it's J.J. Abrams.
Yeah, so I will never watch it on principle.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Sounds
mean,
right.
I assume like all of his shows, season 1 is strong, and then eventually you're like, oh, you don't have a plan for this. Cool.
This is a complete mess.
Yep.
Question 3. I decided that I couldn't do this on my own because I'm not the ultimate gamer. I had to consult a supercomputer to write this question. If you've ever read a site written by a computer, they have a unique way of writing. So, question number 3. Sarah, have you ever done video game to go more often want big achievement in GameScore? Has ever GameScore been defeated by Sarah Dunaway in online stream tournament win?
It have to win, yes.
I don't see how that question could be more clear. I'm just going to go with that answer be correct.
2 out of 3.
2 out of 3. That's not bad. That's a really good batting average, you know.
Shout out to Tony. Very sorry to insult you like that.
I should have known that one. That was a freebie. Kevin,
Totally was.
Oh, God.
outside of podcasting, you're very interested in Austro-Hungarian history. It's a little bit of a pet project of yours. I have one question
Okay.
for you. A doctor comes to you, and he says, you're a match for the bone marrow of a child that's desperately in need of help. They wheel this little kid into the room, about 10 years old. He looks up at you with his watery blue, crusty little eyes and says, Mr. Kevin James, will you give me some bone marrow? What is your response? I know what you're thinking.
Wow.
This has nothing to do with Austro-Hungarian history. This is more about your character.
I guess I'd give some bone marrow.
You wake up from the procedure. You're in bed. The procedure was extremely painful, excruciating even.
That does sound like giving bone marrow.
There's a jar of your bone marrow sitting on the little tray table over your bed. It's, little yellow liquid or goop or whatever bone marrow looks like. And the kid comes in and says, "Thank you, Mr. Kevin James, for the donation." And he moves and he accidentally knocks over the jar of bone marrow. Now your bone marrow's all over the floor. And the doctor says, "Looks like we're gonna need more." Do you draw the line or do you give additional bone marrow?
Isn't there like a safety limit to how much bone marrow you can donate?
You could save a life.
Yeah, also
Or you-
sue this hospital. This is not... The bone marrow, this transplant team failed in a major way.
For the record, I had 3 questions that were Austro-Hungarian history related, but then I woke up this morning, put a strike through for all of those, and all I have written here, and this was the first thing I did when I woke up, is in all caps, bone marrow.
I mean, I feel like this really fits with the theme of our episode, which is, unorthodox surgical removals.
Exactly. So, I don't know where I got that idea from, but I'm just going to say, you are an expert in Austro-Hungarian history, and you've proven that.
Yeah.
Yes, my answer to your final question, which you have not asked, is that Cisleitania is the western and northern part of the Austro-Hungarian Empire, and Transleitania is the southern and eastern part, comprising mainly Hungary.
Oh, sorry, the 10-year-old boy has just killed himself
Reward them.
to avoid listening to you further. This is a true story. Once we were on a road trip, and I caught Kevin was just checking his phone, I thought, and I looked over, and he was looking up Hungarian princedoms on Wikipedia. Just checking something real quick.
I was
driving.
double checking my knowledge about the Grand Principality of Hungary in the 800s. I don't know what's unusual about that.
Just what could you possibly have passed on the roadside on this road trip to be like, oh, that makes me think of the principalities of Austro-Hungarian Empire?
Oh, it wasn't anything I passed. I was just like, I forgot who the first leader of the Grand Principality of Hungary was and how he formed that little kingdom. So I was looking up Arpad the Great. Yeah, so now that we've riveted our viewers, our listeners, let's get back to Wynonna Earp.
Where were we with Wynonna Earp? We were talking about the beautiful gleaming chalice, I believe, that was somehow derailed into Persona 5 and then really jumped the tracks.
And the upskirt creep.
Oh, yes. Yeah, there's some gross little dweeb named Tucker who is filming up cheerleader skirts, and Nicole arrests him and brings him in, but everyone's like, no, he's a gardener. He's a big shit, so you can't arrest him.
Yeah, this is how you know that Wynonna Earp is a fantasy series, because the police hold a rich person accountable for his actions.
Only very briefly.
Yes.
Yes.
But even that really affronted him, because as soon as the officer, or sheriff?
Yes, Sheriff Nedley.
Oh my gosh, I'd forgotten his name. As soon as Sheriff Nedley lets the guy go, he starts threatening lawsuits against the police and wants Nicole prosecuted for arresting him for being a complete creep and pervert.
Yeah, and I think we can skip ahead to the end of this little storyline because it's not the biggest deal, but at the end of the episode, Sheriff Nedley turns over a bunch of case files he has on the pervert to Nicole. He's like, I was the honey trap, and it's you seem really bad at your job. You had more than enough to arrest him a while ago. Why did you need to set a multi-year sting operation to catch the guy who was just publicly taking upskirt photos in front of the entire town?
Right. Sheriff Nedley's like, I'm playing the long game. That just means you're not doing anything.
Yeah.
But,
why
okay.
wouldn't you, since you have this folder of evidence about this guy being a perv, and Nicole just arrested him in the act of doing something pervy, wouldn't you say, well, now that we got him on this, I have a stack of other evidence with which we can prosecute him. He ain't getting out of this one.
It's very weird.
I don't know how police work. Or if they do.
I mean, this one feels very... So we find out that Mercedes is the kid's older sister, and the parents seem not to be involved. And Mercedes is like, I'm done with you, you perv. So she's not helping him get a good lawyer, and he seems way too incompetent to get one himself. So lock that kid up.
Yeah. I think this is supposed to be a mini redemption for Sheriff Nedley. It's just oh, he's not so bad. He's got a heart of gold. But it really just makes him seem incompetent that he's got sitting on piles of evidence and not using them.
Yeah.
Literal piles of evidence. The folder he gives Nicole is as thick as a person's head.
This creepo kid is set up as Mercedes' little brother. She also has a younger sister who dresses like an Amish housewife. And Mercedes, meanwhile, is walking around in stilettos, and she's at the bar with Wynonna, tossing back shots of tequila and saying, look at these guys over here, let's hit on them. So I was actually shocked when these people were supposed to be related to Mercedes.
Yes, this is the weirdest family. None of them really make sense together.
They also look wildly different. They don't look like they're related in the least.
And again, we just have no sense of what happened to the parents at all. And they just seem to still be living in the old mansion where they grew up, and it's all weird.
I think the parents are supposed to be dead, and that's why Mercedes came back to town, because she's like, my parents donated their wealth to the town of Purgatory, and that's why we're having a beautiful homecoming celebration, and I'm poor, and I have to take care of my really creepy siblings.
Yeah.
That's what I thought, but I could be reading way
sense.
too much into this.
And then the most important part of all of this, Perry asks Wynonna out on a date.
I was confused at one point, because Mercedes is the one who's trying to get them to hook up. Because she and Wynonna are at now Doc Holliday's bar, and Mercedes is like, ooh, Perry's in town, he's a hot slab of man body. And then, when later Wynonna leaves, because she has to do work, and Perry's like, oh, can I have Wynonna's number? And Mercedes gets all offended, and she's like, what do I look like, Tinder? But weren't you trying to get Wynonna to go out with him? And wasn't that your whole goal?
Yeah, I didn't really follow that.
Yeah, I felt like there were just way too many jokes about, he's kind of sketchy and mysterious, so, he has a real shot with Wynonna. I guess they're trying to go for, he's kind of a bad boy, but he's no combustible lizard man. I'm not sure what they're going for.
Anything that less than a combustible lizard man isn't worth having.
Totally.
Though from Perry, we do learn something that really tickled Wynonna, that the guy who was killed at the beginning of the episode, Bryce, his nickname, and I just want you guys to get ready to laugh your socks off at this, is B-Train. The most objectively hilarious nickname that has ever existed.
Okay, yeah. No. So that was like the team, the hockey players called Bryce B-Train.
Yeah.
Oh.
You guys don't seem to be rolling around in laughter at this hilarious revelation.
Yeah.
No.
I mean, I knew a lot of guys with nicknames in college. B-Train, yeah. Cool.
Hold on. I think you guys are still not getting it. So I took the liberty of pulling up a deleted scene from the dark web that I think will help you guys understand just how funny of a nickname B-Train is.
This is us getting back to our roots. We're tracking down deleted scenes again.
Yeah, I don't want to delve too much into our personal lives, but we were actually banned from the dark web for several months. I'm not proud of it, but the dark web has a lot of personal integrity, and when they found out that we were just copying bits from 372 pages, they banned me for length of time, and that is why we have not been finding sketches recently.
Well, I'm glad you got back in their good graces. However much Bitcoin you had to send them, it was worth it. Quick, Wynonna, Waverly, we have to save B-Train.
B-Train.
Wait, what's so funny about the nickname B-Train, Wynonna?
Yeah, as far as sports names go, it's pretty mild.
His name is Bryce, but you call him B-Train. Who thinks of these things? It's just the most hilarious name I've ever heard, Perry.
Okay, for comparison, I'm just gonna toss out some other sports nicknames and see how funny you find them.
Okay.
Ocho Cinco.
Nothing funny there.
The Big Unit.
Nope.
White chocolate.
That's objectively the best chocolate there is.
What?
While I disagree, we can't get sidetracked by her terrible taste now. Okay. What about Jesus Shuttlesworth?
Oh, I dated 3 different guys named Jesus Shuttlesworth in juvie.
Jesus.
That's what I was saying in bed, am I right? Well, at least with Jesus 1 and 3. Number 2 liked it when I called him Big Papi.
And that didn't make you laugh at all.
Why would it? It's a perfectly respectable name. I think I'll name my first son Big Papi.
Okay. I've got one. Bad porn.
That was my nickname in high school.
Oh yeah, I thought it sounded a little familiar.
Okay. I have a definitively funny nickname. Sauce Castillo.
Nope, doesn't do anything for me.
I give up.
What about A-Train?
A-Train! That's even better than B-Train! Oh my god, what will they think of next? C-Train? Wait. Guys, I got it. D-Train.
Wynonna's really tickled by this B-Train thing.
Yes, I can't stress enough. This is a running gag. She does this 4 or 5 times in the episode, laughing at how ridiculous of a nickname B-Train is.
It'll just be scenes where they're like, oh, my friend died. He pulled his own liver out from his fucking body, and now he's dead on the floor. And she's like, but you called him B-Train?
Yeah, I was so baffled by that, because, I'm not, a big sports person, but even I know, B-Train is on, the lower end of sports nicknames.
I would get it if she just rolled her eyes every time the name B-Train came up, because I think sports names are silly too. But no, she thinks it's the most hilarious thing ever. And I just wish they'd come up with a better name. Like if his name was Bryce Holton and they called him B-Hole. Immediately way better.
I remember when Bryce and I were on offense together. He was always the person I'd pass to. B-Hole was always open.
Steve, B-Hole would have been so much better. Why didn't they go with something like that? B-Train seemed really normal, because, yes, A-Train, Anthony Thomas, former Bears running back, was called A-Train, and that was a pretty normal nickname.
I mean, even D-Train is better, because then at least you can get, a dick joke out of that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they could have named him anything that started with a D, like Derek. Oh, we called him D-Train. They phoned it in on the nickname, and then they tried to make it this running gag of Wynonna's going to chuckle about this for the entire episode, and it was really forced. I don't know why they didn't scrap that during filming.
It's very weird. Maybe it made more sense behind the scenes. Maybe they're like, B-Train. There'll never be a funnier sports nickname than that.
Hey, at least Wynonna goes on a date with Perry, B-Train's BFF, and then after she borrows Waverly's lipstick and uses it and leaves, Waverly goes dark demon eyes and eats the lipstick, which seemed less demonic and more like something a 4-year-old would do.
Yeah, I forgot about that. That was very weird. The snake demon is very inconsistent. Like, just putting random food in Waverly's mouth and making out with her girlfriend. Like, it seems like the snake demon is more like impulse control issues than evil.
Yes, I was immediately reminded of my students who will do that with like glue sticks and stuff. I don't think that's what they were going for. I was very confused.
Is the demon perpetually drunk? Is it a drunk toddler? Is that what she's possessed by? I don't understand what's actually going on with it, because we have these data points of demon likes to take control and make out with a hot police officer, eat lipstick, and steal shiny things. She steals martini mixer, martini shaker, whatever it's called. Bartender person, Kevin, you correct me when I'm wrong.
Yeah, it's just called a shaker.
God damn it, I thought there was some sort of cool term for it.
It's actually called an S-train.
I don't know what the lipstick eating thing was supposed to be there for. It was not exactly the most menacing thing a demon could do.
Not at all. It was just weird. We also see that Perry has a weird symbol on his forehead. This, I know we have to talk about Buffy in every episode, but this whole thing, I immediately was like, oh, it's going to be a protection symbol because Buffy did that. And it was a protection symbol. Yep.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be, oh no, creepy sacrifice, but protection symbol.
Yep.
Because it turns out Perry was draining a lot of blood from rabbits and painting symbols on stuff in order to protect his remaining hockey friends from this demon that wants their organs. So he's a good guy. I kind of saw that twist coming a mile off. I was more just thrown by the chicken footprint symbol that was their symbol of choice.
It was an interesting one.
It was weird. Also, his weird protection spell doesn't work at all. I don't know if he need like bigger rabbits or like if this is just he's like totally on the wrong track, and I'm not sure why he kept repeating it when it wasn't working, but okay.
Yeah, because the demon comes to the house where he's painting a protection symbol on the door and starts attacking one of his friends and trying to get him to rip his guts out, and it's only Wynonna showing up and putting a stop to it and scaring off the demon that does anything. So the protection symbol's pretty much bogus.
I think this gets back to like a recurring complaint we have about the show. Someone needs to explain what's going on here. Like, what was the protection spell supposed to do? Why isn't it working? Like, why is this in here at all? And this is where like a Giles from Buffy would come and be like, ah, yes, the symbol of Saint Aegeus. It provides great protection against scarecrow demons. If it's painted the right way, you have it upside down, you bloody twat.
See, and Waverly kind of does that because they have a scene where they're like, Perry, you're drawing symbols in blood. Come to the Earp homestead. Let's hash this out. And she's like, it's this runic symbol. It's the one Gandalf scratched in Bilbo's door at the beginning of The Hobbit or whatever. But there's never a thing of, oh, like, to complete the spell, you also need to do these other steps that Perry hasn't done because he's a fucking novice hockey player. Mm-hmm. And then they could have followed that up, but they kind of just leave it be. But we do find out how the hockey players made their deal with the demon, which was their coach told them about the spell to summon the demon, which, please let's investigate this coach. And then they say, yeah, we did a couple bong hits, we said the spell, the demon showed up. So it's proven that smoking marijuana is a gateway drug to demon possession and pacts with Satan.
They all took the deal that for 10 years they'd have really good luck, I guess, because, as Perry says, they just couldn't see past 10 years. It sounded like forever. And, I mean...
Confirmed, they are hockey players.
High schoolers are not that bright, but, like, this seems particularly bad. It's hard to imagine that every single one of them would have gone for this.
Yeah, no matter how high you are, when you're 17 and someone says you get all the stuff you want for 10 years, you do the math and you say, oh, I'll only be 27. Doesn't seem like a great deal.
I will live exactly a quarter of the life I would have lived.
This is worth it. We're going to win a hockey championship, guys. At the high school level that no one outside of this town will remember.
Waverly also indicates that one of the men managed to marry a woman who was much hotter than him, so, like, fully worth it.
Oh, yeah, well, worth it.
I mean, that's something that only happens in Deals with the Devil. Like, I don't think I explained that before our wedding, but that's what I did too, Sarah.
It makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
It's a short-sighted transaction, to say the least. But, hey, while B-Train was great on the ice, he wasn't so good in math class.
The real thing he was training was his bong hits, am I right?
I just love how they threw that in there of, yeah, like we were stoned as balls and we made a pact with Satan. Which is just great. Oh! While they're investigating this and trying to find a way to stop the demon, I just need a moment where I was right about something for once, which is probably the first or second time in the history of this show. And Doc Holliday is cooking up lizard potion in the basement of the bar for dolls.
It's kind of interesting how thoroughly he's been sidelined this season as just like, yeah, he's over in the bar doing something. Whatever, we'll check in for like 2 minutes and be done.
Yeah, now he's just like the wacky town alchemist. I mean, it's fine.
It was great when they had them in the little cooking, like lab cooking up the drugs in the basement, because there's like cartoon bubbling noises in the background and all the colors are super bright and it looked like Beaker's lab on the Muppets more than like cooking up drugs. It looked kind of like a Bill Nye set.
Yeah.
But apparently they're doing it to save dolls who's God knows where.
Anyway, we're done with that. What nonsense.
Let's pretty much that entire side
Let's
plot.
go back to B-Train.
Oh, B-Train! Now I get it. Now it's really funny.
Waverly runs into Tucker, who's like, your girlfriend mistreated me, and then Waverly becomes demonic and chokes him out. So, really just a happy ending.
Yeah. To which I said, this demon possession thing, again, nothing but upsides.
Yeah, so far so good. It's going well.
She has now the power to lift people up by their throat and throttle them because they're fucking creeps, which, cool. I'd take that deal.
We also just get a very, in my view, abrupt end to the Scarecrow demon plot, where, like, the team just goes into the school building. The Scarecrow tries to make Skip remove his liver. No, tries to make Perry remove his liver. And then Wynonna just wishes the demon back into the trophy, and that's it.
Yeah, because there was some convoluted thing where Doc Holliday is like, in order to make the lizard potion for dolls, we need the blood of a demon. So, capture a demon. And then they're like, wow, good thing we're currently in an episode where there's a demon that resides in a hockey trophy.
And it's apparently just that easy to trap the demon. Like, you don't even have to, like, trick it. You just, they'll go, what do you want? I wish you were back in the trophy. All right, cool.
All right.
It's exactly like the ending of Aladdin.
Yes.
What a ripoff.
It really was. They could have done a little bit better with that, but they're trying to have some sort of plot. I don't know, is this going to go anywhere? Like predictions that this is going to backfire terribly and this demon will come back? Or it's just going to be, oh, we have demon blood now, we can save dolls.
Oh yeah, no, that demon is going to be in that trophy for the end of time.
Yeah.
And we're never going to mention it again, is what I think.
That's wonderful. What was my other... I had some other note that I really wanted us to get to in here, besides cooking up the lizard potion. Jesus Christ. I've missed it entirely. Please move on without me.
Well, all we have left is the ending where Mercedes tells her siblings that they've got to behave now, and then the Black Widows show up and kill Mercedes, I think.
Oh, they turn her head sharply to the right.
Yeah.
Which is film speak for she has a broken neck.
Mm-hmm.
And in the... Was it the season premiere for season 2? Where they were in the Black Badge place and there was a little spectral demon hand that reached out from a crate and set off the dynamite and blew shit up.
Yeah, I think those are the Black Widows, but I'm not positive.
I think so, because they have the same jewelry on their fingers. So I think when they blew up the Black Badge site, they unleashed more demons into the Ghost River Triangle. Which I guess is in addition to the demons that were let in when Willa trotted outside of the Ghost River Triangle. So now, like, there's just no end to this, is there? Wynonna's never getting out of this contract.
Oh yeah, it's lousy with demons up there. Yeah.
And then we end by learning that Waverly has dolls trapped in the barn and is keeping him there for we don't know why.
Feeding him lipstick, probably.
Yes. Are you more of a Revlon or a CoverGirl, dolls?
He's writhing around on the ground in agony, and she just has a burlap sack full of all the shiny things that she's stolen away. But she's demony and she's not helping him. I don't know what the heck this is supposed to be. I was caught up in the plot point that is whenever Nicole Hott is bargaining with Sheriff Nedley and he reveals, oh, I have a long con to bring down the bad people in this town and I want you to be sheriff when I'm gone. She takes this opportunity as leverage in order to bargain for the ability to wear jeans to work.
She has priorities, Hunter.
I'm not even kidding. He's like, I want you to be sheriff when I retire. This town has demons, and we just need to protect the normal people from them while Black Badge is doing this stuff. And she's just like, hate to interrupt. I don't like these khakis. They don't flatter me.
Fair, yeah.
And that's legitimately a thing that happens. It sounds like a deleted scene we would find.
I also am just like, there are only 2 police officers in this town. Of course she's the person you want to be sheriff. Otherwise, she wouldn't be the only other officer who works for you.
Right? Like, what is it between Nicole and, like...
The stapler?
The town butcher? Like, I don't know what you're going for here. Of course it's her.
I guess the most confusing thing for me in this show, or this episode specifically, is how they bounce wildly between Doc Holliday knowing fuck all and Doc Holliday being a brain genius. Because in the episode when they say, oh, this was a championship hockey team, he says, what's a hockey? And then when someone says Forbes, he's just like, who knows what that is? And then later, when he's cooking up drugs in the bar basement, he turns to Wynonna and he says, you're ragging on Rosita, my barmaid, but it turns out she has an advanced degree in biochemistry. Like, you don't know about microbes or anything because you're from the 1800s. You don't know what hockey is, but you know what biochemistry is?
Also, why does he know that this demon's blood will be good for his weird lizard drug? Like, how did he come across that information?
Look, Rosita specialized in demon biochemistry at the University of the Big City.
How did she reverse engineer this? And she says, oh, there's a missing ingredient in here. I know what it is. Demon blood. You would just be like, this isn't right. There's some weird compound that doesn't, like, I don't get how this works because I understand biochemistry, not satanic demon chemistry. It raises a lot of questions about demon blood types.
Questions I often have.
Demon biology. This just becomes a show about how we're just classifying demons into different little, like, phylum.
So that's the episode. Any thoughts or cringe lines?
I mean, to recap the episode, there were hockey players trying to kill themselves, and Wynonna saves them and captures a demon so she can take its blood and save dolls, and Mercedes gets killed by the Black Widows that are floating around. That's what actually happens.
Yeah, not a lot really happened at the end of the day.
Oh, and I guess we should note that Perry did kiss Wynonna at the end of the episode and she was not into it, I guess she really does need you to be a combustible lizard for her to get into it. So, sorry, Perry.
We all have our kinks. As far as cringe lines, I think one was when Wynonna was talking to Perry and trying to get him to fess up about what happened. And she says, "Unless you want us to make your day truly chomp nard, you'll tell us."
Oh my god. Sometimes this show gets the weirdest ideas in its head.
Where she's not a 13-year-old boy. She could say just like, "Yeah, I'm gonna beat the piss out of you until you tell me what's going on. Like, we can do this the hard way, or we can do this the way where you don't get your teeth knocked out." I don't know. She could say something badass, but when she says things like chomp nard, it undercuts her as a super cool character.
It's not a cringe line, but I definitely found it very amusing at the end when the demon is vanquished basically the same way as Jafar.
Yeah, she just points a gun at it, and it's like, "I'll give you anything I want. I give up." And she says, "Go back into your hockey trophy." Oh, holy shit. We skipped over the scene where Wynonna beat up a bunch of children.
Oh, why don't I remember that?
It happened off screen. She goes in to get the hockey trophy in order to genie the demon back into it, but the current high school hockey team is there, I guess, looking at the trophy as one often does, and they don't want her to take it, so she says something like, "I'm gonna take it anyway," and then cut to her walking out of the school with a bloody lip, flipping the bird, and she's like, "Yep, I just beat up several underage teens." That's our hero.
This show is about priorities.
I like to think that actually she got it by winning a hockey game against all of them. They went to the ice.
I would have watched that. I would have watched Wynonna plays hockey.
Versus an entire high school hockey team. That would have been great.
Yes, she would have just been high-sticking the shit out of them.
This show, despite the weaknesses of this episode, it was still pretty enjoyable, and it did get us to laugh more than once on purpose. So I would give it 3.5 unexpected barks from my dog.
Yeah, I liked it too. I'm gonna go high because I was pretty entertained. I'll give it 4 out of 5 eaten lipsticks.
I maybe had more trouble with it than you guys. I'm going to score this lower. I'm only going to give it 3 out of 5 beaten teens. It was a little bit rougher for me. I wanted to...
No, it was rough. It's just, it didn't do anything actively bad, I guess, is what I'm coming down on it with.
I found the roughness more entertaining this time than I normally do.
Yeah, it wasn't... No one was super out of character. It still feels like they're building to something where we end with Dolls is in mortal peril, writhing around on the ground. Waverly's doing some mysterious stuff because she's possessed. And Mercedes is dead, which means there's some sort of demon things going on. So I think it's building to something. It was just... The show sometimes cuts away when I want to see things like Wynonna having a brawl with a hockey team, and maybe you don't make it a bunch of 15-year-olds. Feels like there's times where they miss opportunities and they put the stuff on screen that we don't need to see and leave stuff off screen that would be fun to watch.
Yeah, I agree with that. It's at this point, though, it feels like they know what not to do, but they haven't quite figured out what to do.
It is a step above season 1, because I have been going back over our season 1 episodes, and I realized the points where I was confused in episodes and things were unclear, and I didn't know who was doing what. Now the show feels like, oh, I understand what's happening because they're presenting this in an actual storytelling way.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
That shows real growth, Wynonna Earp writers.
Thanks for listening. You can reach us on Twitter at Gritty Reboot Podcast, or just Pod.
At Gritty Reboot Pod.
At Gritty Reboot Pod.
I'm pretty sure.
And you can get us through iTunes or any other podcast listening service. Thanks for listening.
I've been doing way better with Twitter synergy. I found out how to rip video clips from wherever we watch Wynonna Earp so that I can edit really obnoxious shit together.
Excellent.
Yes, you can see them, and it's great.
I redid the Wynonna Earp opening credits to be set to a Method Man song.
The opening theme of Yu Yu Hakusho.
Oh yeah, I did that too because this episode really gave me Yu Yu Hakusho vibes, but I didn't want to subject you to discussions of anime, Sarah, because I like having 3 hosts on this show.
Appreciate that.
Next week, we'll be watching Season 2, Episode 4, She Ain't Right.